Autarch Beast, we've called you bearing good news and bad news.
You came with another.
No, it's the Royal We. And the Royal News, also, it's just one piece of new, really, if you...
Speak, if you must. Beast Enterprises has little time for fanfare.
Well, we've done every video, Mr. Beast. That's the problem. There are none left that haven't already been taken by Vox or the Baby Shark Kid.
Nonsense. What was our latest venture?
Well, we gave $600,000 in a Range Rover to a polar bear standing on that ice cap from the Nat Geo photo from 2006, but we've been getting flack because apparently bears can't drive.
I never got that photo.
What?
Polar bears can swim for hours. That would be like taking a picture of me on a diving board. Why did everybody freak out about that?
I don't know, Sir Donaldson. I think it was something about climate change.
Well, what if we did something for climate change then?
We are already in the middle of doing Team C's and we just did Team Trees.
We could do Team B's for saving bees, Team Breeze for air purification, Team Threes.
With all due respect, that doesn't make any sense, sir. What would Team Threes do?
Give children to couples who are about a week into the relationship, film them for a month, make it into content.
That seems like a departure from the other concepts, if any.
Well, do you have any better ideas?
Well, there's this massively popular show I've been watching, and it seems to have the perfect format for one of our videos.
Yes. You mean Squid Game?
Succession. Squid Game. Yes.
Succession? Really? Come on, man.
I know it was dumb. I'm sorry. I'll put a beast buck in the rotten content jar.
Surf, prepare the Beastmobile. Let's make some content.
Hello, welcome back to the opening number of a musical that takes place in the 1920s. I am a 12-year-old child actor wearing a cap that says extra, extra, read all about it while waving a newspaper. You guys been watching the news lately? Huh? You guys heard about Coney? Okay, you got me. I can't watch the news. I was banned from CNN after I ding-dong ditched Wolf Blitzer too much. I don't think I'm the bad guy for that, though. I consider myself a vigilante for that. I consider myself a freedom fighter. Life has been interesting lately. I have been disturbing the domestic bliss that I enjoy with my roommate by forgetting to throw away my old leftovers every single day. At this point, they have cultivated their own ecosystem. They recently set up a community theater, and they're doing Les Mis. They have almost all the props in there. I think all you need to do Les Mis is like a loaf of bread and a prison cell, so the crisper drawer. I don't really watch the news. I spend almost all of my day, every single day on the internet, both by my own volition and against my will. It's sort of a Schrodinger's choice type of situation. Am I playing cats and soup because I like the game or because I can't will my body to stop from opening the app? We may never know, and that's okay. I am at the will of whatever graphic designer made the Instagram logo look so supple and clickable. Yeah, supple was not the right choice for that series of words. Now it seems like I am attracted to the Instagram logo. That's foul. I'm not attracted to the Instagram logo. Only Mark Zuckerberg is attracted to that. YouTube has essentially been the homepage to computers for me since I was around 12 years old. I had easier access to Smosh than CNN, which in the end has greatly increased my capacity for knowledge. Teleporting Fat Guy was my Encyclopedia Britannica, and I've never seen the encyclopedia both make me laugh when I was younger and ponder the horrors of fat phobia when I was older, so Smosh wins there, as they always do. I had Machinima before the New York Times, and Machinima has yet to publish like 8 op-eds about how we should bomb every country with non-white residents, so Machinima solos New York Times in a matchup, which I never thought I would live to see. But what I'm saying is that YouTube has been my main filter for information for about half of my life. So when something happens on this website, it's like the old man in our village who is sexist, but we accept it because he's almost dead and he's like tradition or whatever. It's like when something big happens, he has to run to town square and ring the bell. Sometimes there is a video on this site that is so pervasive that it is impossible to avoid, from Nyan Cat to Coney 2012 to It's Everyday Bro and so on. Most of these videos are insufferable, meaningless drivel, but some of them are Nyan Cat. Coney 2012, that was serious. So and Mr. Beast, YouTube's lovable bellboy sidekick, has provided us with a very interesting, unavoidable video today. But also it's kind of messed up, I think. Maybe. How about we find out together? Take my hand. Reach your hand out to the screen. Come on. I can tell you're not participating. Let's come on. Reach your hand. Okay. Are you wearing stainless steel? Take off your... No, I can't touch rings. That's sin. You know that. That's sinful.
Money's all I got. So even if you wanna hear something from me about maybe what I thought, you'd be better moving on. How could I be? Everybody's
Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you subscribe right now, I will never stall introducing a topic again, and also I'm lying. How about a more reasonable proposal? If you subscribe right now, I will spend $4 million recreating Parasite with a real impoverished family. I love making content. How are you all doing today? I have been bit by the beast bug. I cannot get enough of the feisty, insatiable Jimmy Beast. Mr. Beast's Squid Game is a series of words that might as well be the result of scrambling alphabet magnets on a refrigerator. None of these words connect to each other in any significant way. But alas, here I stand on the shoulders of linguistic giants asking you, have you heard of Mr. Beast's Squid Game? Like that wouldn't make the Anglo-Saxon originators of English fall to their knees if they heard it. If I said that around them, a Norse god's voice would boom from the heavens and tell me to sacrifice a lamb. The YouTube content landscape has been repeatedly firebombed at this point by a variety of things, adpocalypses, clickbait, Gary V's weasel face, but Mr. Beast seems to dominate this website with little effort. Before I go further, let me get my Mr. Beast burger. I know, it looks like buns around a leather belt, but let me tell you, worth every bite. This was $15,000. Philanthropy. What in the world could that be, right? The name of a new cryptocurrency? A Dior fragrance? A class that would make me drop out? It's actually none of those things, you cobble-tongued tot. Maybe go to primary school and come back to this video when you're ready, bud. I'm joking. I have dropped out of college twice this year. That's a 200% failure rate across 2 different schools. I am the Babe Ruth of dropping the ball. Philanthropy is essentially charitable acts done by rich people to help not rich people, a noble cause. Perhaps you decide. I would like to say at least that philanthropy is not inherently a good person activity. I don't know if Andrew Carnegie was super chill and cool, but I'm sure his competitors, whose industry he vertically monopolized, could take a stab at whether or not he was one. I'd love to get mimosas with that guy. Perhaps we could talk about steel. You know me, I'm a real steel person. To be fair, though, on that count, I don't think many things are naturally good people activities. I think, that term is reserved for refilling hummingbird feeders and untangling a leash when it gets stuck between a dog's legs without calling the dog a laundry list of profanities and denigrating terms. You have to have the soul of a Nobel Peace Prize winner or a soft boy podcast host to not curse out a dog when it is tied the most intricate Boy Scout handbook knot in between its own 4 legs and refuses to lift them up no matter how much you plead. Just really plants them in the ground like a stake in a vampire's heart. Anyways, Mr. Beast's whole brand is philanthropy, stunts, and extreme entertainment, and it is money-centric to the extent that some of his earliest videos were speculating about the incomes of various YouTubers, from PewDiePie to Markiplier to Captain Sparkles. In fact, he enjoyed these videos so much that in my brief scroll of his YouTube channel, I came across 6 videos that alluded to the income of PewDiePie in their title or thumbnail, and also a video where he donates $10,000 to PewDiePie, and also a video called I Hate PewDiePie, and also a video where he says PewDiePie 100,000 times, and also interviews where he praises PewDiePie. What I'm saying is that if I was PewDiePie, and I saw this guy get 80 million subscribers and enough money to fly anywhere in the world, I would start walking around with a bulletproof vest on. Because this man is going to be in your house with a free Tesla you do not want if you're not careful. He is going to wear your Swedish skin like a piece of Beast philanthropy merchandise. So Mr. Beast essentially came up on the YouTube scene by doing things that no one else would do, speculate endlessly about the income of others. I'm kidding, everybody does that. Counting to 100,000, watching videos for hours upon hours, and of course his financial stunts where he will give thousands, nay tens of thousands, nay hundreds of thousands, nay millions, nay, I'm kidding, it doesn't go higher than that, but wouldn't that be crazy though? Anywho, financial stunts where he would give large quantities of money to just random people, but for what do they receive this money? What do they have to do? What does Mr. Beast ask of them? Well, it varies. Sometimes it is for making a basket from the free throw line, sometimes it's for keeping their hands on a stack of money, sometimes it's a right place, right time sort of thing. It is essentially random, but of course every video can fill the viewer with the hope that maybe one day they'll be a recipient of this money, especially in some of the videos where Mr. Beast does deals with advertisers or just with his own money, saying that if you subscribe to the video, you have a chance to win $10,000 or just any amount of money. This is something, I don't know, different YouTubers do this too. It's not weird. If you support my loot demonstration at the tavern, perhaps you could come into a bag of gold coins. This isn't funny. Honestly, this stuff is fun. Usually to see ridiculous shit done by a mysterious guy, we would have to wait for David Blaine to leave his hibernation chamber every 4 years. But now we have Jimmy Beast, or Jimmy Donaldson. The Mr. and the Beast are not his first or last name. What else is he lying about? However, additionally to these giveaways, Mr. Beast partakes in massive amounts of charity, having raised money to plant tens of millions of trees with Team Trees. He is now raising money to clean the ocean with Team Seas and helps operate his own charity called Beast Philanthropy. And yeah, you might say, well, 6 billion trees are deforested a year. What's tenth of millions of trees planted gonna do? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, he does lots of charity, but Oh, he never saw this one coming. This was my secret shadow jitsu. I got you there, Jimmy. You may do charity, but what about mutual aid? That's something I find is important, sometimes giving to people in your community and building power there directly. I beat you, pawn to e4. I don't play chess, Monopoly. Looks like I win and he loses again, proving that I'm actually super smart, attractive, and my SAT scores were in the 70th percentile maximum. Actually, here it says Mr. Beast also will do videos just giving life-changing amounts of money to anybody who needs them and people in his community. The charity stuff is just like another thing that happens in the variety show that is his life. Okay, so it's like mutual aid light. He's doing like the alpha build of mutual aid before all of the features are established. Am I supposed to like find something to dislike about this guy? What can I dislike? I mean, his logo is ugly. Yeah, it looks like an NHL mascot sticker that was caught in a fan. Like, as weird as his content is, I think Mr. Beast is a good guy? Even a great guy, an exceptionally kind-hearted and charitable person, which is weird because this is the first time I've entered a longer form video on this channel without any scathing critique of the individual who is the subject. I definitely have my opinions about the long-term efficacy of philanthropy and charity and whether they will actually help us break down the systems that cause the problems they address. A special hint, they usually don't because the system is capitalism. Is this boring? But in spite of those beliefs, I still think Mr. Beast is, like, not necessarily a bad person. His channel bio says that he gives away money because it makes him happy. If there's anyone on YouTube I would prefer to have money, it's the guy who gives it away like a 14-year-old gives away Pokemon cards when they feel like they've moved past them. At least intellectually we've moved past them. You can't move past the memories. Since every time I talk about a regular-looking white guy, I need to make fun of them a little bit, I will do that, but before I do so, I want to say that I actually don't dislike Mr. Beast a ton. You know, scrolling through his page showed me that he has a lot of tenacity and drive. He loves making YouTube videos, and undeniably shown by his numbers, he's one of the best entertainers the website has ever seen, even if a lot of his videos end up rubbing me the wrong way because they are like clearly created for content or seem to be trendy or clout chasey in nature. I don't think he is a bad person, and in fact, he does a lot of good work. He dropped out of college because he realized that he would rather be poor than do anything other than YouTube. He loves this website and everything it stands for, and he just wants to be the best content creator he can be. That being said, he is an incredibly well-off man with a grotesque haircut, and every single opportunity I get to clown on somebody for having middling facial hair, I will grab with the ferocity of a hawk swooping down on a small desert rodent. Speaking of rodent, Mr. Beast has a very Volcore look going on. This is the face of a man who tore his way out of the Macy's Christmas catalog he was born on the pages of 20 years ago and will only die when being struck with a silver play button at midnight on New Year's when one of his videos hits 100 million views. I'm beginning to feel like a rap guy. His goatee is a rabbit's foot hastily Elmer's glued to his chin. This man has more money than I can healthily conceptualize without overclocking my brain, and yet the barber eludes him like a breakable wall in a Metroidvania. Is he Whoville's most successful entrepreneur? Yes, and he has recently unveiled plans to neutralize political extremists like the Grinch by giving them Teslas and also electro-hue cardio flukes. Seuss reference. His facial hair is like 20% of a wizard's facial hair. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I can't make fun of him for too much longer. He looks like a happy-go-lucky dog that keeps on bringing the ball back to the wrong owner at a park. Let's talk about Squid Game. I wrote this script from 10:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. yesterday. Does it show? So, Mr. Beast, the closest thing we have to a benevolent Willy Wonka in our reality, announced he would be remaking Squid Game last month if his TikTok announcing the idea reached 10 million likes. I'm pretty sure he had a good idea this might happen. 10 million likes is like pennies to this man. It's Dreyerland to an influencing deity such as the Beast himself. Mr. Beast eats, sleeps, breathes, and most likely cosmically manifests millions of views on the daily. He could get millions of likes dead as a carcass. How do I know this? Because he buried himself alive for 50 hours, and it has 150 million views and 5 million likes, which adjusted for TikTok inflation is like 600 trillion likes and half of the shares in ByteDance. So Mr. Beast announces that if he gets enough likes on TikTok to earn himself, 8 cents and a hot dog from the Santa Monica Pier, he will spend millions of dollars recreating Squid Game, and the response is my YouTube earnings. A mixed bag. It's because I'm not pureblood. That sounds really fucked up. I'm very happy being biracial. The white half, I could do without it, but okay, there were like 2 responses to Mr. Beast announcing this. One of them was like, Mr. Beast, I love your videos. Please give me 1,000 V-Bucks. I would love to come to the Mr. Beast mansion and meet the beast of your namesake. Will it maul me? Can I become one with the aura of the beast? And the other was, Maybe not Squid Game, Bucko. Maybe not that particular show. Yeah, in case you haven't been on Twitter, Netflix, IMDb, Instagram, LinkedIn, outside, around friends, at weddings, at funerals, at screenings of 3 weddings and a funeral, in case you haven't seen any print publication in the last 2 months, in case you've been in a sensory deprivation tank for the last 70 days and you woke up and didn't think, I wonder what Netflix has going on. Hopefully it's nothing transphobic. This show called Squid Game came out. And it's pretty big. It's the biggest thing since sliced bread, or Face ID being used for passwords, or weaponized robot dogs with guns. I'm telling you, take away that robot part, canines are war machines waiting to be harnessed. You don't need metal in there. So Squid Game is maybe the most profitable thing that Netflix has ever done. It's one of those shows that nobody will shut the fuck up about. Honestly, for the time that it was at its height, I was seeing more Zoomer posts about Squid Game than I ever saw millennial posts about Game of Thrones. Isn't that fucked up? Doesn't that mean that we're in the darkest timeline? This is the upside down. This is a bad place. So Squid Game, if you haven't seen it already, is about 456 people whose lives have been disrupted, put in jeopardy, or otherwise just wrecked by debt. You know, being given the chance to win around 40 million US dollars by participating in a series of seemingly simple games, and all of these games will be played on minimalist, isometric, mask guys, Pleasure Island. Where is this? Is this Lego Island? Very well could be. The twist is if you lose one of these games, you get shot in the head and die. Don't know why I specified death there, actually. Oh, you get shot in the head and then you Uber home, right? Sorry, I'm not on my A1 script game right now, I won't lie. Now, this script is pretty pointedly anti-capitalist. The games are made to look fair, of course, but will heavily favor some people, and everybody there is risking their lives because of debt that may or may not be their fault for accruing. Not that anyone should die if they have debt. The United States government would be facing many a death sentence in that case. Some people make the argument that the show could not be a critique of capitalism's death march because the participants are offered at one point the chance to leave if more than half of them agree in a sort of democratic process. That is, quite frankly, a shallow and unsubstantial critique. You know, the characters are offered the chance to leave after they figure out that, you know, they're going to die. Even at that point, a majority of them choose to return because their situation is so dire and the money would be so valuable to them that they would rather be put to death in a trial than face the outside world as is. This can also be interpreted as a critique of our contemporary democratic process as it stands, as people are forced to participate and vote in ways that perhaps they wouldn't otherwise due to external forces that can't be accounted for with just a vote. Additionally, the ability to leave or stay is not the autonomous choice of any of the players, but must be agreed upon by the majority. So, if it's 50-50 and the last person chooses to fight to the death, then you all fight to the death. And when I say this can be interpreted as, I mean it is a critique of contemporary democracy. Squid Game creator Hwang Dong-hyuk says, in reality, we also get a chance to change the direction of our society every few years through an election. But we often feel the change of an administration doesn't make our lives any better. The same goes for people in Squid Game. They try to change their fate through the vote, but their realities don't change much. I ask myself if the modern institution of democracy can really improve our lives. Oh, geez. This is a dark show, one of the darkest I have ever seen, and even in its lighter moments, it is overwhelming, tense, and tragic. There is a lot of death, a lot of commentary, and a lot of gruesome stories painted about how poverty and debt can destroy people's lives, how money can make or break people. Squid Game was written by its creator during a period of interpersonal turmoil and financial stability in the wake of a global financial recession in 2009, while himself and his family were really struggling. When asked about why the show makes people risk their lives in such demeaning, gamified ways by a Guardian interviewer, Squid Game's creator Hwang Dong-hyuk said it is because the show is motivated by a simple idea. We are fighting for our lives in very unequal circumstances. The reporter followed up by asking if he was making a profound point about capitalism. He responded with, "It's not profound, it is very simple. I do believe that the overall global economic order is unequal and that around 90% of the people believe that it's unfair. During the pandemic, poorer countries can't get their people vaccinated. They're contracting viruses on the streets and even dying. So I did try to convey a message about modern capitalism. As I said, it's not profound." Also, I gotta say, this Guardian reporter kind of seems like a jackass. Multiple times they try to get him with, like, gotcha questions, and he's like, "Yeah, I lost like 6 teeth due to the stress of working on this show, and Netflix didn't pay me enough, but I am glad that it's resonating with people. In the end, I just..." So you critique capitalism, yet Netflix pay for your show, and it is corporation. Looks like this interview is over, and I'm smart like a big boy 8th grader. I have not been in a relationship for 7 years, and I am suffering. Maybe read Animal Farm, idiot, and make sure you remember it's not actually about animals like Clifford the Big Red Dog, because if you don't, you'll have to read it twice because you missed a lot of stuff the first time. Did you do that? Did that happen to you? Yes. Yeah. No, yeah, it did. But the second time was faster because I used an audiobook, which leads us to today's sponsor, Audible. Holy shit, really? No, we gotta get back to the Squid Game synopsis. Oh, okay. Okay, back to serious. Squid Game makes nods to the 2009 Sanyong Motors layoff, a massively impactful layoff of over 2,500 employees in South Korea during a global financial crisis, with many of the employees of the company not only facing unemployment, but falling into massive bouts of depression, with 26 of them going on to commit suicide in the following years. In the show, the protagonist, Ji-hun, struggles with trauma and flashbacks to encounters with the police during union strikes, having seen someone be killed in front of him. Dong-hyuk says that through this reference, he wanted to show that any ordinary middle-class person in the world we live in today can fall to the bottom of the economic ladder overnight. This show is not just about how low people can fall, but about the volatility of status, of class. In doing this, the show doesn't just say, look at how bad things can get for other people. It says, if you have stability, if you have wealth, if you think this can't happen to you, it can. It extends a hand over class barriers, saying that the exploited and the trodden on can unite to resist these things, to support each other, because in the end, our roles in society are as unforeseeable as they ever could be. Also, both of these articles that I'm using to cite Dong-hyuk's story mention that LeBron James didn't like the end of the show, which elicits a hearty chortle from me because his biggest play at the cinema was Space Jam 2. I don't know, I think it would be weird if we were like, yeah, Mr. Quaron, Children of Men was excellent, but we're curious if you have any words on two-time PGA championship winner Phil Mickelson saying that the long shots are technically impressive and thematically appropriate, yet occasionally are detrimental to the pacing of scenes. It's like, I don't even know if I want that guy's opinions. He just plays gentleman's baseball. What does he know about the countryman's photograph? That's what I call movies. Yeah, golf is gentleman's baseball, croquet is gentleman's golf, broom ball is the ne'er-do-well's croquet. It's pretty simple. Speaking of weird games made by British creatures, the game Marbles in Squid Game was actually altered from another, more specific South Korean game. This is because Dong-hyuk wanted to make a more universally accessible show that was relatable to people everywhere. He wanted his critique to resonate with everybody. This show is not just a critique of South Korean capitalism, is what I'm saying, and that even cuts to the core of the way he wrote characters. Dong-hyuk says, Squid Game is not intended to be a story of hope for society with some wishy-washy portrayal of a hero. We cannot expect such self-sacrifice of ourselves nor each other. I wanted to ask viewers how we can navigate this cold world of vicious competition together, where each of us are merely weak and ordinary individuals. All of these things have not gone without acknowledgement, analysis, and commentary from many. While making this video, I stumbled upon a Vulture article by Roxana Haddadi, who likened the game of marbles the characters play in episode 6 to union busting, which I thought was super clever, and I found that interesting. And of course, with this show, there are hordes of conservatives and liberals saying, actually, this show is a critique of communism. Gotcha. Which is awfully bold to disagree with the creator of something on its intent. This article specifically is called, "The director of Squid Game says it's about capitalism, but actually it's more like communism." And it calls itself a 9-minute read, but actually it's a 15-second skim. A sophomore who is in JROTC wrote this between in-school suspensions, I swear to God. The harsh reality is that communism always ends in misery and bloodshed, with an elite class exploiting everyone below them. Talk about the pot calling the kettle communist. If that's communism, Lenin is the secret oligarch of the United States right now. I always knew Joe Biden was hiding weird Russian elf-like facial hair. That's all from that article. Thank you, Megan Dillon. I appreciate that even your name is just 2 names that are statistically likely to be on the attendance sheet at a GOP fundraiser. Yeah, so Squid Game is like a massive cultural moment. It's like the PewDiePie of Netflix, and you can probably see where this is going. This show is a brutal, devastating critique of late-stage capitalism and the things impoverished people need to do to survive in such a ruthless, unforgiving world. So Mr. Beast was like, hey, this looks cool, let's do this in real life, and spend $3.5 million on it. 3 million beans, Professor Beast? That's a lot of money. That's like 3 million trees. Or 567,000 Beast-style fries plus DoorDash delivery fee and tip. That's a lot of Kin's cash. So he says, if we hit 10 million likes on this TikTok, we will remake Squid Game in real life. And of course, it hits 10 million likes. He's the best Beast. His best Beast moments could be compiled in a bestiary. And at this point, a lot of onlookers think, well, what's gonna happen here? Do we finally get to see Jimmy pick up the patented Beast heater and lay waste to contestants? Is this the challenge that will end with Beast bail being posted? And the answer, sadly, happily is no. We do not see Mr. Beast going Rambo on unwitting subscribers. There are no clickbait thumbnails with large weapons such as Tesla flamethrowers or Dyson vacuums. You might say Dyson vacuums are not weapons, but I am convinced Dyson technology will kill anybody if they start taking apart any of their devices. An inch of a screwdriver and you're in the grave, like that. So what we do get to see in this video is 456 randomly selected subscribers doing tamed down, non-lethal versions of the games from Squid Game, competing for a grand prize of $456,000, almost $500,000. Playing red light, green light, carving honeycomb shapes, playing tug of war, marbles, jumping on glass panels, and playing musical chairs for $500,000. It is weird, it is surreal, it's misshapen and disturbing, and I was incredibly entertained by it. Listen, I can hear the villagers from the local tavern at my door with a battering ram, so let me try to explain myself. This is an impossible duty because I just contextualized for 3 pages why anyone who trivializes the events in this show sucks. I'm a monster. A foul creature. I'm the beast now, Jimmy. First things first, not only do I think this was a decently fun video, Hwang Dong-hyuk literally said that he loves it, he wants more people to do stuff like it, and that it helps promote the show. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here either. We have entered a horrible Google Twilight Zone, and we are under the control of this warlock who looks like somebody cosplaying Michael Cera's facial hair circa 2013. Listen, there are actually a lot of aspects to this Squid Game that are very different from the original. The first being that it is a 25-minute YouTube video because, as we all know, the average YouTube viewer has the attention span of a lab rat on PCP. You ever see those lab experience where, like, nondescript guys with goggles and lab coats give rats cocaines or whatever? It's like, oh, they're getting it for free? Yeah, sign me up to be a lab rat really quick. Let me animorph. Mom, I don't do cocaine, okay? I have a melatonin dependency and I forget to turn off my blue light filter sometimes. That's it. Those are the substances. That's it. Mr. Beast's Squid Game also has a breezy pace, a bunch of pleasant interactions with contestants. The players are all clearly having fun, and he also gives thousands of dollars to contestants who are eliminated after round 2. So all of the sharp edges of the original show have been smoothed in pursuit of making an enjoyable, amicable experience. Even second place receives $10,000 just for getting to second place. Like, the original idea of the show being that one person wins everything has been overturned completely. The person in first place does receive a disproportionate amount of money compared to the rest of them, but the sting of elimination has been greatly reduced with literally just giving losers money, which was a completely unnecessary addition, which I guess he just decided to do because he didn't want to see them lose too bad. He decided to give away hundreds of thousands of dollars extra to people who lost the game. I can't stress this enough. That's weird. That's a weird thing to do. That's fucking nuts. This video, as frivolous, indulgent, and abrasive as it can be, has some sort of human, empathetic core despite its odd choice of subject matter. And I could not really ignore it while watching it as much as I wanted to. And I really wanted to clarify. I wanted to look directly into Jimmy's cartoon gopher-esque, kind-eyed mug and tell him that it was an objectively unlikable, offensive appropriation of the source material and that he should go fuck the exhaust pipes of a Lambo that he gave away. But when the guy who wrote it based on his own experiences couldn't even tell him off, I don't even think I have the right. To clarify, I think that people had and have every right to be mad at this or consider it distasteful. I'm still pissed. I still think it's distasteful in my core, but I can't bring myself to be mad at it past its use of the source material. Here's my comprehensive list of critiques. It is ignorant to the tone and the purpose of the original Squid Game, which is, I guess, doesn't matter, because the creator doesn't care. So they didn't get the actress for Sai Bayok, whom I am prepared to leave everything behind for to make a cameo. No dogs with guns. 2/3 of the budget was devoted to set building, which, although incredibly impressive and accurate, was probably around $2 million of budget being used on aesthetic purposes rather than being given to contestants. But also that's up in the air because undeniably this was probably able to break even in part due to the amount of people brought in to watch the video based on the sheer commitment and scale. I think it would be funny if they had Mario Kart banana peels in the red light green light section. They didn't play Squid Game. That's the name of the show. They replaced it with musical chairs. That's just a fumble. I don't know what to say about that one. Mr. Beast did not learn fluent Korean. He should have been able to do that. No squids in the video, mostly people, though there were many games, so it has to be at least 5 out of 10 because it got half of the words. My main problem is that I cannot stop myself from stripping away the Squid Game wrapping paper and seeing the video for what it really is. Because if you strip it back, what you can see is that the problem we actually have is that if I dislike what Mr. Beast is doing, then I also dislike... Yeah, Alex, I'll take the actual point of the video for 500 and, make it a daily double and supersize it also. He cannot do that, and also he is up in the big Final Jeopardy in the sky, so rest in peace, Alex Trebek, and I'm sorry. Game shows are America's favorite media to watch with our parents when we want to focus on something that is not local elections. You're voting for who? Everyone likes watching a 60-year-old gray-haired fish-like man be a little weird to 30-year-old women for 22 minutes on public television. It's a national pastime. Every game show host kind of has that vacant crush dad smile where it seems like they have a finite amount of life in their face and they instantly transfer it from their eyes to their teeth when they smile. There's nothing going on up there. It's just like TV static and the Price is Right theme. The sound of early buzzer clicks and the taste of the cigar they lodge in their esophagus right before commercial break ends just to feel something, you know? Game shows have been around essentially as long as American media has been around. The earliest instance of a game show, as we would think about it, was a 1923 radio program by the Brooklyn Daily Eagle, a quiz on recent events. And although sometimes they change in medium or in banter or in form, the core idea is still there. Podcasts like Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me carry on similar current event quizzes to the present day, although they don't offer monetary prizes and rather opt to allow questions to compete for the honor of recording an introduction to the show. In the early days of game shows, there were rewards and prizes of sorts, but no large Something gonna fall? Am I being cursed by God for shit-talking Mr. Beast? Guys, I'm being censored. This is literally 1984. So in the early days of game shows, there were rewards and prizes of sorts, but no large monetary incentive to get involved for the most part. But as time marched on, prize money started growing until 1954. This is when the Supreme Court case of FCC versus American Broadcasting Co. Inc. was settled, with the FCC taking a divisive Squad L and getting booted from the Xbox Live Party. They were getting carried. It was the only way to move forward. Essentially, the Federal Communications Commission was trying to restrict large payouts in game shows and classify them as gambling, but they were shot down as it wouldn't really be considered gambling so long as the money was not contributed by the contestants and rather was provided by the show. So giveaways aren't gambling as ruled by the FCC. We've had game shows for a while, some of which were incredibly strange and offensive, such as Queen for a Day, where women had to compete with their heartbreaking stories. Some of the descriptions for these stories were like, my 2 sons died. Make me queen for a day. What if you were on that show and you had a bad day and then you had to follow that? How do you react? Do you just make shit up? I'd make shit up. I would become an A24 tragedy in seconds. I'm not losing. Anyways, we have all the dominoes set up to start paying money. We have the trust of the American audience. What do we do? Well, if you're the $64,000 question or 21, both popular game shows at the time, you start rigging the show. According to Herb Stempel, who was promised a high-paying job at the network if he threw the game, Dan Enright would pull out cards with the questions and answers that would be used that evening. I ran through them. He would instruct me on when to pause, when to mop my brow. Everything was very carefully choreographed. When the fraudulent nature of these shows was revealed, it led to a massive downturn in America's trust of game shows, which is crazy, because if we could do that for the CIA, perhaps something would happen in this country. If Wheel of Fortune did MK Ultra, people would freak the fuck out. I thought you were giving away like Mercury Cougars. You're doing mind control? I mean, I would love to see what Pat Sajak would put in my head. Anywho, these shows were investigated by the late 50s, with many people involved being convicted of lying under oath. And at this point, a bunch of these shows were taken off air and canceled, and rigging game shows was outlawed. It was fully made illegal. Then we had the second renaissance of game shows starting in the 60s. You know, second renaissance. We're reincarnating, baby. This is where we got hits like Jeopardy and Let's Make a Deal. Side note, the ex-wife of Merv Griffin, who is credited with being the catalyst of the idea for Jeopardy, Julianne Wright, is currently retired living on a plantation in Virginia. I will receive no flack for this. I do not trust old white people who retire to plantations in the South at all. How did you get the plantation, Julianne? Did your parents bet it all in a daily double and win the money for it, Julianne? How'd it come about? You know, she's 92, so if she dies, I will look like a dick, but I'm fine with that. I've looked like a dick many times. I'm nothing but a stylistically cohesive bully with an unlikable target. So that's how we got to where we are now, but where are we now with game shows? Well, game shows are weird and random and unfair. Many game shows give away cash, yes, and some people's lives are changed, but some people also are not given cash. In the case of large winnings like cars, vacations, or televisions and cameras, people may end up owing a massive amount of money on taxes, since game shows prizes are taxed as income. Receiving $21,000 cash and paying income tax is very, very different from receiving a $21,000 car and then all of a sudden owing $9,000 that you just don't have. Of course, winning anything is, good, I guess, but game shows really make it tough to accept things sometimes. On the other hand, Mr. Beast has said that if he gives someone $100,000, he doesn't want them to have to pay taxes on it, so he supposes he'll pay taxes on it. I think this is because his rewards are considered gifts, so he pays taxes, whereas prizes won would have taxes paid by the recipient. So Mr. Beast is doing a more entertaining game show where he gives more money to everyone, he seems to manage taxes better than actual game shows, and he does charity work, and he helps in his community, and he has the face of a cobbler's favorite apprentice, or a pompous mage, or an anthropomorphic sea otter. So why does the Squid Game video still bother me? Why does this bother me so much? Seems like he's doing everything right. I think that maybe it's the content angle. Does that make sense? Have you ever been on somebody's close friend story when they're really going through it, like God is really shoving them through the food processor? First things first, when that happens, it is no longer a close friend story. That is a diary, a support group, and like a key piece of evidence in a trial. It's a triple threat, really. Second of all, you look up at the top of the story and you're like, no goddamn way that many things have happened to you today. There's just no shot. Looks like Braille up there. Jesus, just infinite ellipses. It's like a cartoon bee flew overhead. 2 things happen to me a day, maximum. and one of those gets a story post like half of the time. I don't know how you're living the condensed protagonist wiki page timeline of events every day, but fuck me, leave me out of it. I'm scared. You shouldn't need a psychiatrist note to get antidepressants, just a screenshot of that 35 post long story. Yeah, we're getting you Lexapro. So you know when you're on that type of story and you're concerned about them the whole time, but you're also like, oh my God, why is this being shown to 100 people rather than being dealt with like by a prestige level therapist, you know, a therapist that does a lot of raid bosses? You know, I guess that's the weirdness I feel about filming oneself giving homeless people or struggling people money. I guess it's good that we see it. You know, maybe it will lead to more good if we see it. If I see my friend struggling on their story, I can reach out, I can help them. But at the same time, it doesn't feel right to see stuff like this happening on camera. It feels like it should be private or personal, and it feels like invasive or exploitative in a way. So I think that's why even when stripped of the context of Squid Game itself, Mr. Beast's video still feels a little bit weird to me. But still, I've sat down and I've watched Jeopardy many times, and never in my head did I think this is random, this is unfair, this is stupid as many times as I did during the Mr. Beast Squid Game video. Why am I bothered by this? Why am I bothered by this? What? I'm nervous all of the time about most possible things. I'm an anxious person. I struggle with obsessive compulsive disorder, which distorts nearly all of my thoughts. It's an anxiety disorder, and it's bad, and it makes life bad. I worry about a lot of things which don't actually affect me, and because I also have ADHD, I freeze up when it comes to things that do affect me, so I'm caught in limbo a lot. I have trouble properly contextualizing my thoughts and understanding them. There's a lot going on, so I have to write all of my contradictions down whenever I write a video, and that's okay. I need you all to know that my thoughts are as messy and as undeveloped as yours, and when I spit them out, I want there to be room for fuck-ups. There's just something so sinister about a game show in capitalism. It's a random shot at a cheat code. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Somebody could work their entire life toiling every day in an overexploited country, back-breaking labor, and earn a fraction of what a Jeopardy player wins on a top run. It's confusing and upsetting, but it's not the only thing under capitalism that works like this. We're told that this system is built to measure people's productivity and strength and how much they labor, but it doesn't. If you're white, if you're attractive, if you're lucky, you get to bypass all of it. Fuck it, if you're me, you get to bypass most of it. I dropped out of college this year, and I'm making more than I would have otherwise. It's absurd. It's like gut-wrenching. It's unfair. But at the same time, I want these cheat codes in the system. I want somebody to be able to take a year off of the work that's giving them spine issues because they went on Jeopardy and read enough Chaucer. I want somebody to avoid the monotony of a day job because they chose the right vowel. But is it right for me to want that when it's a complete fucking dice roll, a coin flip as to whether they'll get it? And when it comes down to who knows the trivia, who's had access to that education, who could afford to miss work or school to make it to a taping, that's gonna shake out in a very different way. Is it really a coin flip if societal forces beyond our control may shift the likelihood of certain races, genders, classes winning? I don't know, maybe if you have weighted coins, I don't know. I'm just tired of random chance. I'm tired of Mr. Beast randomly selecting 456 people from his subscriber count when he could have pointedly found people who are financially struggling and given them the opportunity to win money. He's done it before. But then I would have been insulted that he actually made poor people compete for salvation. It's a double-edged sword. I'm tired of a parody of a show that was critiquing treatment of impoverished, you know, having at least 2/3 of its budget spent on fucking set design. But at the same time, I'm glad that the people got paid for their set design. I'm tired of the fucking cameras. That's what I'm tired of. And isn't that stupid and self-obsessed because here I am on camera complaining about it? Isn't that fucking pedantic and weird? Is it really that unreasonable for me to be frustrated that somebody's career can be constantly bolstered by them filming themselves doing good deeds, posting it, making money off of the videos and doing it again? To grow their own personal brand, to do it again? Is that not puzzling and weird? Have I lost my mind to think that this is possibly exploitative or strange or dystopian? No, that's a fucking ridiculous thing to think, because if he didn't film it, he couldn't give money away. You realize that, right? You realize that if he stops filming, they stop getting money. Do you really want people to have their money taken away? Are you that grimy? No. Are you that holy and untouchable that you'd rather someone put down a camera than feed a family? That's disgusting. But is it really when he's probably making the money he gives away back off of these videos? He's got to be, right? He's got to at least break even so he can do it again. Is that worth it? Is it better to have someone else having the platform and fucking keeping the money? Criticism is worthless. It's completely worthless. You cannot lob a word at a man who has given away everything on camera because at least he gave it away. Many have done much less. You've done much less. Does that make it feel less rotten? Does it? Can you look inside and tell yourself that you still feel good watching that homeless person getting a year's worth of rent while being filmed for content? Can you? I think I can. They feel good. Maybe that's all that matters. We just want to see people win money and be happy and get lucky because maybe it's us next time. And that possibility of it being us is worth more than anything else in a system where people are going to be systemically put down, disenfranchised, marginalized to the edge of existence. Is it good to have a failsafe, a god mode? Is it good to have catch-alls that just solve every single problem for a random lucky few? Is it better to have none? To discourage the system altogether from offering us a refuge from its cruelty, to fully commit to resisting it? I guess that's up to you. I want people to be happy and safe, and it seems more efficient to let that happen by chance right now. I was born fortunate. I didn't have to struggle. I won my own lottery before I was born. I don't want to take that chance away from other people. I was reading through an article by the Smithsonian Magazine while researching, and I stumbled upon this quote. If Jeopardy is the ultimate American game show, it's because it's an aspirational one. Jeopardy shows us not as we are, but as we wish we were, as we could be. Holding a buzzer, confidently pleasing Alex Trebek with our correct responses on the Battle of Yorktown, Troilus, and Cressida, amino acids. What could be better? Is that who we wish we were? When I was young, I used to do algebra with my dad on the chalkboard. Maybe I wanted to be a mathematician. In my freshman year of high school, I wanted to be a software engineer, but I got rid of the computer science elective for theater. When I started college, I wanted to be a sociology or philosophy major. But I guess they're right. Whenever I watched Jeopardy, I wanted nothing more than to be behind that podium, to rack up points, to see Alex chuckle lightly at my off-kilter delivery and my unsure answers, surprised that I got it at all, to get lucky and to keep getting lucky. That's the fantasy, that's the dream, that's the goal. That's all I ever wanted, and that's all I ever asked for, to be lost in that sea of blue and to give the performance of a lifetime and not have to worry about a thing. The sweet embrace of the dice roll to take me to death. Just a glimmer of hope in a dark world. I'll probably never even brush against that glimmer, but it's enough to cross my fingers behind my back thinking maybe I'll be smart enough, maybe one day, just to make it all work. Maybe one day. Is the problem that I have hope at all in this system to see release, even if random? Maybe. Is the problem the people who give me that hope? It could be. I'm tired of infinite lotteries saving people. I wish they could just live. It is crushing knowing they have to be saved. I wish they didn't. I'm exhausted, but I guess I am glad for the people with bills and with kids and with debt that Mr. Beast was in their neighborhood that day. I just wish he didn't have to be. I think maybe I'm all too tired to be thinking about this, though. Maybe I can sleep on it.
That'd be so weird. Rip. That'd be really weird. But let's see. Dude, if I don't have 1 million subscribers when you see this video, my entire life has been a failure. I hope I have 1 million subs. I better have 1 million subscribers when you guys see this. Dude, I really hope I have 1 million subs by now. Please, future me, please. What am I doing with my hand? Please have 1 million subs.
I hate not having a concrete answer for things. You know, anxiety thrives on absolutes, on making you figure out the minutia of a situation until you finally arrive at like an irrefutable conclusion. But I don't think there is one for this, at least right now. I think there can be like peace in that uncertainty, though. You know, I think that's something a lot of us can learn to live with. There's this like race to certainty that everybody is participating in, and I don't feel well enough to catch up. I'm gonna lose. It's a tortoise and the hare type of situation. But I'm always the tortoise, and I just die before I hit the finish line. I hope you have some new thoughts at the end of this video, even if you may need to think more to like fully piece together your conclusion. I think you're allowed to think. I don't know shit. Why would you listen to me? My brain is made of like porridge and shrimp scampi. There's nothing up there. I have a Patreon if you want to support me there. The link is in the description. We have a bunch of tiers, and by a bunch I mean 4, and by we I mean me. It's the royal we. And yeah. Also, here's I'm gonna be doing fan art roundups at the end of these videos now. Check out these fan arts. I don't know when exactly I'm going to like move the next ones on the screen, but look at these. Aren't these fucking wild? Look at how talented these people are. This is nuts. You guys should be getting paid for this. Yeah, these people are also talented, and they fuel my self-obsessed nightmare descent into narcissism. So, thank you. Remember, take care of yourselves, take care of others, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and remember that you are loved. As always, it has been a pleasure. And did you guys know that Merv Griffin originally wrote the Jeopardy theme song as a lullaby for his baby boy? Until next time, bye. Hello, welcome to the My Camera is Overheating post-credit scene. Hope you're all doing well. If I put my hand up against that, it's going to feel like a radiator. It's going to feel like a nickel that's just been blown to. I'm sick. That's why my voice sounds so, I was going to say sultry. No, it sounds like there's silt at the bottom of my esophagus. It's bad. I'm coughing like a dog trying to eat a hand towel. It's not good. Yeah, I thank you for watching the video. Yeah, I feel like it's contentious. I feel like I'm saying some contentious things. You know, I sound very bitchy and I sound very pissy. And I am. I'm a bitter motherfucker. I just hope you guys enjoy what I have to say. I'm bitter as hell. Anyways, Mr. Beast, stop on my live stream and give me $10,000, or I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna expose you. I'm gonna cancel you for having facial hair that looks like a worm on a string being dragged across your face. I'm done. I'm done with this fuck. I gotta.